Hello everyone and welcome back to the Math Pundit. Today I'm going to go over some prerequisite topics for Algebra 1. Keep in mind that you should have already learned how to do these problems in this video, and this is simply a way for you to refresh your memory. If you'd like some extra practice with the kinds of questions that you're seeing in this video, I have linked a practice worksheet and a key in the description below. The problems in here are taken directly from that worksheet. There's some that I picked and chose. So if you need to review any of the definitions, those are in the worksheet as well. Okay, that being said, let's jump right in. So this first problem is asking us to write the algebraic expression of this verbal expression. So the product of 8 and a number, I'm just going to call this number n. So the product implies that we're multiplying. So 8 and a number simply means 8 times n. You could rewrite this just as 8n. Okay, pretty easy. 2 times the difference of a number and 8. Same kind of concept here, but this time we're going to have to use parentheses. So 2 times the difference of a number and 8. So n minus, because the difference implies subtraction. Okay? All right. Problem 3 has to do with order of operations. So the order of operations, if you remember, there's a very simple acronym that may help you remember. PEMDAS. Parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication, then division, then addition, then subtraction. So the first thing I see here is these parentheses and 4 times 3 inside of those parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and evaluate that. That is 12, and squared times 5 is still there, all over. And because this is in the denominator, we can go ahead and add these for now. And then when the time comes to actually evaluate the entire quotient, it'll make our lives a little bit easier, if you'll see why in a couple of seconds. So 9 plus 3 is 12. Now, we can simplify this a little bit before we multiply. Because this is all multiplication, and 12 and 12 are the same number, we can cancel here. So if I rewrite this, you might be able to see this a little better. 12 times 5 divided by 12. So right here we can just cancel this. This is 1 and this is 1 because 12 divided by 12 is 1. And then we're just left with 12 times 5 over 1. Dividing by 1 just gives us the same thing, so our final answer is just 60. Okay. Now, 4 and 5 are problems related to the distributive property. So the distributive property just states that we can distribute this outside term into the terms in the parentheses. So if I distribute this 3 into 2x, I get 6x, and then 3 times plus 5 is plus 15, and that's our final answer for problem 4. Problem 5 is very similar, but we just have to do the distributive property twice. So 6 into 5y and 6 into minus 3, and then 8 into 2y and 8 into plus 4. So 6 times 5y gives you 30y. 6 times minus 3 gives you minus 18. Then we go here, 8 times 2y equals 16y. And then 8 times 4 is plus 32. Now we need to add those like terms though. So if I add 30y and 16y, and then minus 18 and plus 32, my final answer is going to be 46y plus 14. Okay, let's move on to this last problem. This has to do with independent and dependent variables. So if you recall, the independent variable is, in an experiment, the variable that is being changed or being altered. And the dependent variable is the variable that changes in response to or because of the independent variable changing. So let's read this question. During an experiment, the students of Mrs. Roswell's class recorded the height of an object above the ground at several time intervals after it was dropped from a height of 5 meters. The results are in the table below. Identify the independent and dependent variables. Okay, so really all we have to do here, we're given the two variables. It's time and height. But we have to figure out which one is the independent variable and which one is the dependent variable. Well, Mrs. Roswell's students are recording the height of the object at several time intervals. So the height depends on what time or how much time has passed since they drop it. Now, that's the key word. It depends on how much time has passed. That just means that the independent variable, I'm going to abbreviate independent as IV. So independent and dependent. Our independent variable is time in seconds. Now, you can be more specific with this. You could say time after the object was dropped, but the basic idea is there. And then our dependent variable will be the height of that object in centimeters.